Good late Thursday afternoon, everybody. Meteorologist Casey Cloud here in the Weather Center right now, about 4:44 p.m. We're tracking a severe thunderstorm across parts of Alachua and also moving toward areas of Gilchrist County there as well. This potential remains in effect at about 5:15 or so, as we're seeing some hail indications around the community of Clark here. In Alachua County. This is something that is looking pretty nasty here on the Doppler algorithms, and I'm glad we came on. We were kind of debating based on a more rural nature of the population whether we should come on. And in that latest scan, just now in the last minute, it's just come on out. The hail size has really increased even more. This is showing over 2-inch hail, and I don't think it's that big, but the point being here is we're seeing hail probably over an inch or a lot of hail that's smaller, closer to an inch falling in size here. So again, just have to be really, really careful. You just do not want to be out in this type of situation. Again, either a situation where you have hail over an inch in size or the hail that's fallen is really maybe about an inch in size, but there's more of it than you would typically see. So a nasty situation. This storm has really evolved very, very rapidly. I mean, I'll back this up for you guys. Let's look at this. I mean, we're looking here. This was just after 4 o'clock. There was barely even a shower here and towards some of these different areas. I mean, at 4 o'clock or right before, you can just see what I'm talking about there. And then it just really, really pops up. One of the more rapid areas of development I've seen here in a while in parts of our viewing circle, but you're starting to get this here in these summertime setups. So again, I just have to be really aware here of this potential. As hail now, even on our more conservative product, is showing potentially closer to 2 inches in diameter here. So let's go ahead and go back on over right on that Gilchrist Alachua County line. You can see here we're talking about East Central Gilchrist and West Central Alachua County until 5:15. At about 4:35, the storm was pretty close to High Springs, but really to the south by a little ways, or 15 miles east of Bell, moving northwest at only about 10 miles an hour. So again, a nasty storm. Our product here is showing hail closer to 2 inches in size possible on the west side of Clark, moving in toward Gilchrist County here. This is a very nasty storm. And let's check that wind potential with this. We focused on the hail. I think we need to check the wind potential with this. I might even put a storm track on it here in just a moment. But that wind potential here, as I go over to our analyst computer, and they've just upgraded this to a considerable threat now. A considerable threat here in parts of Alachua and Gilchrist counties in terms of damage potential now. The Weather Service is agreeing with our other product there, saying this storm could now have 2-inch size hail as we're looking here on the Alachua Gilchrist County line. So wind potential wasn't necessarily showing up all that great, which is good news. And that's why they didn't upgrade that potential. Maybe a downburst in there, maybe it's got to 60, but that hail potential is significant here now. They're saying this is a considerable threat here, and it's not really moving this storm. That 13 miles east of Bell. We're talking about a situation where people and animals outdoors could be injured. So expect hail damage to roofs, siding, windows, and maybe even vehicles here. Expect damage to roofs, siding, and trees here as well from wind. So again, just have to really be cognizant of what's going on. Again, we could have hail damage to roof, side, and windows and vehicles, and wind damage to roof, side, and trees. So again, you just have to be really cognizant in this type of situation. You not want to be messing around here with a storm that looks like this here around the community of Clark. We're not getting maybe our hail signature to show up in our correlation coefficient product, but we're seeing just a really nasty signature nonetheless here. Still showing closer to 2 inches. Again, this is a considerable threat here of damage as we're looking toward parts of Gilchrist and Alachua counties until about 5:15. So again, you need to be inside and away from windows here in this type of scenario as we're looking here, and we're live on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch. So again, this storm has really escalated here in its level of intensity pretty rapidly. You can see we're getting a little bit of a hail indication earlier as we were getting closer toward the community of hail there. But now as it's gotten there on the west side of Clark, it's really gotten vigorous in terms of that hail core associated with it. So just got to be really cognizant of what's happening. We'll go ahead and see you guys our other view once again. I'm just checking some different things right now on the overall scenario at large as we continue to track things here in the Weather Center. I'm typing some things here out right now as I try to gather new information on what's going on. Again, a very rapid evolvement of this storm here as we're looking right now toward parts of Gilchrist and Alachua counties. And now we have some other national stories to touch on as well. We haven't turned the logo red for some national threats yet, and we're still kind of watching things. But I want to kind of show you guys a tornado watch that just got issued toward Oklahoma City. Now, there's some questions about some things with this because we have not seen the level of destabilization on Oklahoma City proper that the models had predicted. We've had more cloud cover hanging around here. You see it really kind of still staying focused in some of these spots, but other spots to the south are starting to see clearing toward Duncan there and Lawton. So that could be where we have more of a threat. We'll see as we have even a strong tornado potential within that. We also have tornado watches out here. We've had a really number of tornado warnings toward the Arklamas today. None right now, though. But again, the reason we're on is for this rogue storm within our marginal 1 out of 5 risk. We had not seen a level of development in our area on our storms here compared to what the models were showing either. But now things have quickly evolved in this one area. I mean, that's about as fast as you ever get something to develop. I mean, going from 0 to 60 here very quickly. I mean, it's a very isolated area. Don't get me wrong, but this area here could be seeing some nasty, nasty conditions here in toward parts of Alachua and parts of Gilchrist counties right now around the community of Clark. So again, you just don't want to mess around here in this type of situation. We're looking some of our different modes if you're kind of wondering what I'm doing here. I'm just trying to get an idea of what is happening with all this here in general. So giving you guys a track on this, you can see here or maybe headed over the next little bit. So just kind of showing you guys we have areas in here like it looks like Willowford that could be impacted if this were to hold together here as we get later on in the timeline. We'll just kind of have to wait and see. But again, a nasty storm situation there in this very isolated area here of the viewing circle right now. So again, just trying to give you guys the latest information to protect you, protect your friends, and protect your family. I'm going to show you guys a different look at this here. We're going to slice this here and go to a cross-section mode and kind of give you an idea of what things look like from this. You can see just the overall nature of this really vigorous here, going up pretty high. It's still kind of getting this act together, maybe, but eventually we could have some of this wind and this accent fall apart, and then that could actually kind of be a situation where we get it to kind of have one last little punch within it here before it may fall apart later on in the timeline. That can happen in summertime storms sometimes if they do kind of not hang together too long. So again, just giving you guys a look at that cross-section analysis right now, a different look at things here, just going across this region. You can see here these blacks, even in the reflectivity values, indicative of the hail threat being a little more substantial than we generally would see around here. So this is kind of giving you guys a different perspective on that as we go on back right now to the other mode. I'm going to see if we have anything else on our other system here, maybe some volumetric scans. I'll have to see if there's anything worth noting there. I don't think we're going to go over to that for now, but just looking at some different things here. They're definitely interesting here in the Weather Center, but we're not going to go over to that here on the main computer for now, but we'll just keep our eyes on it behind the scenes. But again, this is a nasty storm situation here around the community of Clark there in Alachua County, getting off into Gilchrist County. I know as we look under this, there are a few homes out here, a pretty rural zone, but I mean, it's not impossible that we could have a couple homes here or vehicles within this area that get damaged by the hail that could be coming out of this. Again, if you're wondering where we are, we cover 62 counties, and this is not an area we talk about the community of Clark very often, but you do hear about High Springs a little more often. This is just south of there where the worst of this is. So again, let's just kind of remind everybody where Gilchrist and Alachua are. I know we're based in Bradford, but we cover 62 counties. But Gilchrist and then that line with Alachua is where this is focused. The severe weather at the moment is focused. So again, a severe thunderstorm warning remaining in effect from the 20 minutes here for parts of Alachua and Gilchrist counties unless this gets expired out early. So again, a dangerous situation as we go back on over to our other mode. You can see again, this has had rapid development with it. I'll back it up. I may even go put this in our loop mode here. Yeah, we'll loop this. You'll be able to see how quickly things came together here. I mean, nothing, and then all of a sudden you have some things come together in the overall setup, and then things just blow up right here over the community of Clark here in Alachua County. Again, it's pretty rural out here, but there are a few homes that could be suffering some hail damage. I don't think the wind throw was overwhelming, but this warning was something we really saw the hail potential come to fruition here within it pretty rapidly. So gotta watch out for that lightning potential too, but that hail potential, I think it might have peaked and now it's starting to get on the downturn in terms of the overall strength pattern, which could lead it to kind of dropping some wind down to the surface here as it tries to maybe fall apart. But and maybe you still have some hail with it, though. You could have hail that's kind of wind driven, and that could add to that damage potential. Again, this is over a pretty sparsely populated area, but still, a few folks might be getting some damage out here. This is unusual for our area, as they've dropped the hillside now to 1.5 inches in diameter. So they took away the considerable threat tag here, that considerable damage tag. But it's still a concern for folks out here in toward this area. So the latest statement coming from the Weather Service here in the last few seconds that kind of gives us that latest information as this warning continues here for parts of Alachua and Gilchrist counties. So they're saying ping pong ball size hail now. Looks to be that bigger threat here versus getting up to 2 inches in diameter. Also 60-mile-an-hour wind gust. The other possibility here is this moves off toward the northwest at about 10 miles an hour. So again, we'll track this. I'll go ahead and make sure we have our storm motion on here good and give you a new track. So it's moving very slowly here. I hope it'll just fall apart on us. But you see 15 minutes right there. 30 minutes, we get out to 45 minutes, and 60 minutes is just there in the vicinity of Willowford. If it's still holding together, I mean, it probably would be enough for some rain at least. May fall apart in terms of something maybe a bigger threat beyond that. But it does seem like that is, again, the only game in town here at this point, which is good news. It does kind of, at points here, help that one storm to mature a lot into something more vigorous. But at this point, we're not seeing anything else that looks that close to becoming severe. But you saw how quickly that particular storm has the right parameters for right perimeter space came together there, the right scenario here with your winds are coming right in play there, causing some problems that would appear in the worst parts of western Alachua and eastern Gilchrist counties. So again, you don't see much else around that. Our hail signature dropped off. You see our marginal risk dark green as I zoom back into this warning here. Again, considerable damage not out of the question here toward Alachua and Gilchrist counties over the last few moments. Right now, they dropped that down to the base warning with the potential, though, still 1.5 inches. Technically is what it has, but that's not something that you go necessarily higher up with in terms of the considerable destructive tags. But we're getting a hail report now from actually a guy that is emergency management official in Flagler County. He's saying he's getting a report out of Alachua County, the Newberry area, the vicinity of it anyway. I mean, you got to keep in mind address is kind of stretched out a little bit. I mean, Newberry is down here proper, but I mean, at least where the addresses are, one of the spotters that happens to be out there is reporting hail potentially the size of golf balls. So again, that's pretty significant to see as we get out there toward parts of this region. That's over the last little bit. We may have had some golf ball size hail confirmed now. It would at least seem out in this vicinity. So again, just gonna zoom back out. The hail side may have dropped under 1 inch now. It seems like it's on that downward turn in terms of the intensity. It was much stronger a few moments ago, it would have seemed, with our hail algorithm, but it's still pretty nasty. We'll go ahead and zoom back out a little bit. You can see here we have the tornado watch, so we're in Mississippi, Louisiana. No watches around here. We're not expecting watches here. We have a bigger threat toward Oklahoma, which we have to cut in for later if things escalate. We got to pay attention because there's that strong tornado threat over there, maybe EF2 plus, but it's not something enough to turn our local rate at this point because there's been some factors that have maybe mitigated the threat to some degree out there in terms of some cloud cover, lack of instability. See maybe some gusty winds over toward Memphis. There's a severe thunderstorm warning over there. Tornado warning in northwestern Kansas for Rollins County. That's going until about 4:15 Central Time. At 3:56, a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado. It's located 7 miles south of Atwood, moving northwest at 40 miles an hour. So definitely interesting to see there. We're just going to go ahead and keep going back toward the south and east, though, and see this storm here again. This really blew up quickly into something that was pretty vigorous in nature. Again, just trying to see exactly what we're getting in here, in toward the weather center. Let me go ahead and go back on over right now to our other mode. You can see here maybe quite a bit of lightning here that has that cloud to ground potential here around the community of Clark. So make sure inside and away from windows if you're in this area. It looks like I may be seeing some growth up toward the High Springs area, even though the core doesn't look as strong or maybe really severe in some ways. We have some nastier weather, at least some stronger conditions moving up toward the High Springs community. So that's something to bear in mind there. You see a little bit of weak rotation in this too. I don't think that's anything to be too concerned with. But maybe that could be a sign that we're getting some gustier winds down toward the surface as this tries to weaken overall. I mean, you still see the purple sun up, but we're not seeing the blacks like what we did right about the time we came on. It really was peaking out here. We had the worst damage potential. But right after we came on the air here is when it had its highest damage potential here in toward this area. That's what we got so concerned. Sometimes more rural areas make the decision to just post things here this time of year, especially on Facebook and Twitter, with the warning, the radar map, the radar there. You just kind of see what's happening there with the current timestamp from when that comes on out. But instead, we thought it was important to come on to give you minute by minute coverage to protect you, your friends, and your family with this type of hail, a size being indicated by Doppler radar and its algorithm. So let's just go ahead. I know we have a new tornado warning in Kansas now for Thomas County out there, but stuff's moving in an odd direction up there northwest we've seen today, which could preclude some maybe higher end tornadic action. But still, it's interesting to see tornado watches toward Colby, Kansas. And again, tornado warning went right now for Thomas and Rollins counties, a couple different areas of spin. It would seem that we're tracking. So that's something from the national standpoint to watch. You see again the strong tornado potential that we were talking about yesterday. Maybe you have 2 plus, not out of the question now. With that shift a little bit down here, that's where we got to pay attention right now. It seems like the higher end threat parameter may be closer to the state line. You see these little areas develop, and those are some ripe conditions down here toward Wichita Falls versus the conditions to the north here. So we may have this kind of tilt to the south a little. We've seen more cloud cover on Oklahoma City today. So maybe a squall line, maybe some damage and wind up there, but it seems like Oklahoma City south is where the higher end tornado potential could take hold here. We have some STP values starting to get up there, and the energy values are just excessive from Wichita Falls to Ardmore. Not so much Oklahoma City. They've inched up there more than you'd think with the cloud cover hanging around there today. But you can see down toward the south, Wichita Falls to Ardmore, they're really seeing some of the higher instability values we'll ever see, over 5,000 joules per kilogram near surface-based capes. So that could be a problem down there. You see stuff down here, you don't have as much of the tornado parameters. We have some, that might be something to watch there, but it's really right when you have the best areas come together here with the energy, with the shear. That's where you have your highest potential, and it would seem we're starting to get some early signs of some development here. East of Wichita Falls there, south of Graham, northwest of Jacksboro. Stuff down here is the internet stability area that's really favorable too, but not quite as high STP. We'll have to watch them moving toward Dallas here. I don't think the tornado threat is 0 for the Dallas area, as evidenced by the Storm Prediction Center outlook here. So we'll pay attention to that. Models have been off lately. Now, this stuff was forecasted on the local level, though. We were talking about it yesterday. That marginal risk is not something I want to make too big of a deal about, because this time of year, you get marginal risk a lot. I mean, to be quite honest, or these lower end threats, you don't even have to have a marginal risk to get them. But around the High Springs area, we're starting to see this kind of move closer toward them, even though that's kind of on the edge of the warning here at this point. It seems like we're getting a different area trying to evolve a secondary core here, become a little more maximized. That could require a new warning further toward southern Columbia County if that were to keep its signature going there a little bit longer. We'll have to wait and see, but we'll just have to keep looking at our different modes. Just right on the edge of reading a warning here, maybe extending a little bit further up toward High Springs there in southern Columbia County. I mean, maybe High Springs proper misses the worst, but we'll just have to wait and see here. Just have to wait and see. So again, they're telling us, getting an update right now here in the chat session, that hail that we were getting to go off both sides earlier was 6 miles west of High Springs. So right now it looks like, anyway, that's closer to where it is at this moment. But High Springs, if they're kind of noting it, they might have been looking more southwest of High Springs here a little bit, or using the way the county and the cities work here. You might technically call areas maybe closer to here, High Springs, and you got 6 miles. I didn't really add up too much. I don't know. Maybe we'll have to kind of figure out what they mean by that. But it can get tricky sometimes, unless we're getting some current hail again falling. And that's what that report refers to, but I don't think it is. So again, that's closer to where it would be now, about 6 miles west of High Springs, maybe even a little bit closer than that. So it gets tricky there with some of these different names and the city borders, but and just the overall geography of it. But, we'll just continue to watch here in the Weather Center as we continue to give you the latest information to protect you, your friends, and your family. So let me go ahead and go back on over right now to the other mode. You can see the purple here on the Doppler radar scan. Again, we're seeing signatures here of some hail. I mean, it's not as big as it was. We're gonna keep an eye on this. I'm gonna take a quick break here in the coverage. I think we're at 5:06 right now. I'll be back about 5:10. So just stay tuned here to Cloud Weather. We'll keep you guys up to date as they track this storm here in parts of the viewing circle. Let me go to that broad perspective real quick. It's a very small area, but a very vigorous area of storm action. So keep it tuned right here for the latest. Meteorologist Casey Cloud back here in Williston at 5:10 on this Thursday. You can see that polygon still in play. It's not necessarily something that would require to stay orange at this point, but at one point it was a situation where it was more of a considerable threat of hail here around the community of Clark. So that's why it did turn that color here yellow. The base warning, the orange there for the considerable threats, and then your destructive threats really see an orange and black become more prominent here with the different outlines. Hopefully, I don't get anything like that. We don't generally get destructive warnings, but I just saw a scan on my analyst computer that makes me think it might get an unfortunate extension here, and that we'll have to stay with you a little bit longer to keep you guys safe and more people at risk here. That's why it is unfortunate as we're looking coaster here toward areas west of High Springs. We're getting a little bit of a bigger hail signature to try to evolve on us here. I know our other product really isn't picking up the hail icon too much, so it's not a guarantee we'll have to see an extension here. And in fact, as I say that, they've gone with an advisory, so maybe we'll be able to wrap this up here in short order here, based on the latest scan. Your wind signature didn't look all that organized here, but that didn't always mean that you couldn't get the hail, because we had apparently golf ball size hail in this vicinity a little bit earlier on. So again, let's just keep watching this a little bit longer here to make sure they don't change things. But the expectation right now is for them to drop the warning and for them to just put a significant weather advisory on the screen. So that would be in a brownish outlined area to the north here a little bit. They're telling us earlier that hail maybe closer to ping pong ball. We've gotten some photos in now. It sounds like of that. There's a better locational icon on that, it would seem. So again, photos of ping pong ball size hail reported west of High Springs by a trained spotter, and they estimated that radar location there. So they estimated that from radar. So again, hail to the size of ping pong balls there, 3 miles west southwest of High Springs, around 4:55. I mean, not quite there, what you'd call golf ball, but it's close. I mean, things you can kind of make some different assumptions based on different things. That sometimes things look a little bit bigger, and you kind of measure them out, and with the exact size, it might just be just a little bit different. But again, you can kind of see here. This area right here toward the line of really Columbia, Gilchrist, and Alachua now is where we have the highest potential here of some issues. As you get on there a little bit, we're looking there again, some of these different areas there. That's where the highest potential of some issues would be. So we'll just continue to watch that. I know we're starting to get a little bit more of a hail signature again on our other source, so that could be something to kind of watch maybe for a new warning. We'll look at our hail path over the last little bit, and you can see how it really concentrated down here. And you see that report there right on the edge of that, the ping pong ball size, the hail there. That was from around, it looks like 4:55 or so. But this right here up toward the north at about 5:10 or so now in that current time, 5:13, but the radar only analyzed every few moments. That's why I kind of back timed that a little bit. Towards southern Columbia County is where we're going to have to look here at some of this action that may go severe once again, as you see inside hail marker, and they've gone ahead and issued a new warning. So we kind of were afraid this might happen. It's intensified here once again based on the latest in the algorithm. They're going to go considerable damage here actually until 6 o'clock for portions of Alachua, Columbia, and Gilchrist counties. So again, you don't want to see that, but that's what has now happened. A new warning has been issued by the National Weather Service in Jacksonville until the top of the hour, 6 o'clock. So there's you in the mode here right now, trying to give you the latest. I know we have tornado warnings in Kansas. We have that significant tornado threat that could evolve in Oklahoma, especially the southern tier of Oklahoma and the northern tier of Texas, there closer to Wichita Falls, where we have the instability and the sheer median the best. But out here we have a hail threat. It's more substantial than generally see here. This is again toward parts of Alachua, Columbia, and Gilchrist counties here to about 6 o'clock. So let me go ahead and read you guys that warning here. Let me read you that latest warning. At 5:13, a severe thunderstorm is located near High Springs, or 11 miles southeast of its Tuckney Spring. It was moving northwest about 10 miles an hour We're talking about 2-inch hail and 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts. So just gotta be aware of that. I just gotta be aware of that here. Northeastern Gilchrist, West Central Alachua, and southwestern Columbia counties until about 6 o'clock in this rogue area of convection here has really prompted this higher level of concern. I mean, it's all by itself in terms of being severe in our area, and it's a considerable threat again. As indicated, I don't see that as much on my modes as I did earlier, but still, with them saying that and with the history of this, I don't think they want to take any chances there at the National Weather Service in Jacksonville. So again, you see overall, there's not much going on. We've had lesser acts in here spatially across the region than we were generally expecting today. But that one area here has been more problematic. You see there, eastern Alachua with some lightning, northern Union some lightning, a little bit of lightning in southeast Marion. Of course, whenever thunder roars, you want to go indoors, but we're not seeing the magnitude here necessarily. The magnitude of the convection here that we were expecting, but this one area is kind of taking all the energy around, and it kind of is like a mop here. It's like a sponge. Really, it's able to absorb everything, and then become the more considerable type of threat. So again, we're talking about areas here of Alachua, Columbia, and Gilchrist counties until 6 o'clock. People and animals outdoors could be injured. Expect hail damage to roofs, side and windows, and vehicles. Expect wind damage to roofs, side, and trees in the vicinity, at least, vicinity of High Springs. So this is a little bit more focused there with parts of High Springs in this now. So that's something we got to keep in mind. I mean, it works maybe just on the west side of town, or even in the southern Columbia based on that algorithmic look. But we just have to keep on watching things here in the weather center. So let me go ahead and go on over. I mean, you just have to keep looking at things here. I'll see kind of where High Springs proper is, and I'll see the core of this is just the west here. I mean, you know, the storms are really, really isolated in nature sometimes. The damage doesn't affect very many people, but it can be pretty substantial. So there's High Springs right there. The High Springs proper, and our signature, let me get back on over, is closer to here. So that's a few miles to the west here, really, as we're getting out of Alachua County, where we have High Springs. You have southern Columbia County, northeastern Gilchrist County. That may be where the worst of this is right now. So you got to take this seriously there in toward this area. We're just going to continue to watch our different modes here of the Doppler. Let me look at our ZDR products. We have some upscale growth in here for sure. Now, in terms of some other algorithms that we might have on our screen to use, again, the hail size going up there for sure in southern Columbia County. Now, we have a higher chance of severe hail. It seems that the chance of severe hail here is over 70%. So, again, and there's your latest update. It's now closer to 80% in terms of that chance of severe hail actually occurring here, as we're looking just toward a little bit off toward the west of US 27. And we're a little bit east here of State Road 47, kind of between those two roads. Where the worst of this is here, west of High Springs. Pretty rural, but there are some homes out here, as you can tell from our topography look at things. So, latest update just came in, over 80% chance now of severe hail in this area. So, again, pretty nasty stuff there. I'm just checking some of our other modes again. I know. Let's give you a national update again. I think would be something to do here in the Weather Center. At this point, we have different areas in the country we're watching from the national standpoint. We have 2 tornado warnings, one toward Kansas, Rollins County, another there toward Nebraska, Dundee and Hitchcock counties there. And then as we look, we have a significant tornado threat there around Oklahoma City, more in Norman, but there's a chance, based on our models, based on what I'm seeing here with my analysis, that higher end tornado threat actually could focus closer toward Lawton, toward Duncan, toward maybe Falls Valley and Ada in Oklahoma. Instead here, could get as far north as Chickasee or Norman, but we'll just continue to watch things. We'll just have to continue to watch things there within the Doppler algorithm. You have another tornado threat out here to the east. Nothing in terms of warning now, but we had a bunch of tornado warnings earlier in the Arklamis. You have Smith and Estill warnings there bordering the state line with Alabama. As you look at the top left of your screen there, Kemper and Lauderdale counties have minus of 60-mile-an-hour gusts possible, and we have a new warning actually in Central Florida very, very rapidly. This has evolved here on the west side of Orlando now toward parts of Orange County. More of a hail threat here, but Orange County and communities like Orlando, Ocoee, Winter Garden, and Windermere, and even Bay Lake. We're seeing some hail potential emerge out here, so that's something to keep in mind as you're looking towards Central Florida. Again, in our area, nothing else looks that close to becoming severe. There's no other advisories in our viewing circle, but a different story as we look toward this area right here, and toward where the three counties kind of come together, Columbia, Gilchrist, and Alachua. So, again, I'm just trying to gather some more information here, and so maybe bear with me. I'm just trying to see if there's anything new from the Weather Service. I don't see anything right now. Took power outages in this area here at this point. See if we have anything in terms of those. Our Florida numbers right now. 6,577 customers in the dark. A few toward Baker, some more toward Lake County in Florida, but toward Gilchrist and Alachua, 42 in Alachua, 18 in Gilchrist, and 1 in Columbia. So not too many yet. We'll keep watching and we'll keep tracking the situation over the next little bit. So again, this is a pretty nasty scenario here. We're just watching all of our different scans within the Doppler algorithms. Let me see what else we might have here. What else we might have within these. So you'll be able to see here. We're able to kind of see what's going on with our viewpoints here at this present time. And we don't actually see anything necessarily that's suggesting something just really, really terrible. But, I mean, it's a situation where we could have had that's exceeding an inch in size, though. So you got to take that into account and be mindful of it. So I'm trying to gather some new information here behind the scenes. Just bear with me. I'm going to see if I can get a traffic camera that's pointed off toward the west of High Springs. I mean, it's just going to see the dark clouds, but we'll just see here what's going on, on what's the overall scenario kind of is presenting here. And it'd be a little bit far away to get too much of a view here, but might see some darker skies at least. So that could be kind of interesting here in nature. So bear with me. It's a one-man band, so I kind of have to effort these as I talk here. So I'm just kind of going between a few of these right now. We're just going between a few of these here at this present point. And we'll just see what these are kind of giving me here. I know I kind of correlate with the radar showing toward what the traffic cameras locations are. So again, that's something to kind of bear in mind here too. So I'm really just trying to find something that might be pointed further off in that direction. Some of these are doing better with that than others. It looks like some of these might not even be giving us the pictures here live, but then they give you the video live, so you kind of have to take that into account too. Sometimes things don't give you the best look here initially, and then you have to kind of click on them to get a better perspective on things. So again, it's just all about protecting you, all about protecting your friends, all about protecting your family here. We're just trying to see exactly what might be going on here. And a lot of these cameras are just a little far away, probably, from giving us a good perspective on the overall situation. But some of them might be able to get just in line enough. So I'm just trying to see what we might have here. Again, I don't see anything right now that's too overwhelming here in my initial assessment, but things can always change here as I keep going. I mean, it's a situation where you can kind of see maybe some rain, a little bit of rain, but I'll go ahead and pop up one of them since I've been going through so many. I'll at least give you guys a look at one. It's nothing overly impressive because we're a little too far away to get the best look at things. But this is one of those looks here right now, Florida 501 perspective, I-75 at mile marker 394.4. So again, kind of far away to get the darker look at the clouds here. The things just don't line up quite right here with the vantage point. But at least you can see a little bit maybe of the rain falling if you look real closely there. It's not the heaviest rain, but it's worse obviously closer toward the core of the storm. But we'll just continue to watch things here in the Weather Center. So again, severe thunderstorm warning for parts of Columbia, parts of areas of Alachua and Gilchrist counties here until 6 o'clock. So let's go ahead and see what else we might have here for you. We'll go ahead and see what else we might have within the Doppler scans. Again, we were showing this to you earlier. We were kind of doing a cross-section analysis of this. And I'll do it once again here. I'm gonna go a little bit wider actually with this. Something I don't use too often, but I think it might help us out if we go a little bit wider because we'll be able to kind of see exactly what is going on here with this type of situation. So again, here's a look at some of this action getting a little bit higher up, kind of going between it a little bit in terms of the positioning. And you can just see the storminess extending higher up here into the atmosphere into where this Columbia, Gilchrist, and Alachua County region. So again, just trying to give you a look here. It's a little bit different as well by just swinging it around. Again, you can see things getting up pretty high, and then if this stuff kind of comes down, it could drop a higher wind potential at points here too. And I mean, if you saw the hail that's pretty big, it could cause some wind-driven type of hail here to become a little bit bigger of a threat. So again, we'll just continue to look at all that here in the weather center. Let me go ahead and see our hail potential is showing and how it's showing on this product. We're showing about 1.5 inches here at this present point. You see south of Fort White. So again, around Fort White, you might have to watch. This is getting on the edge of the polygon. So they might have to see another new warning here. But this keeps edging on out like it is because our latest scan really is showing things a little bit further on the edge here in toward Columbia County. So again, something to watch toward the Fort White community now. Things kind of shift direction on us a little bit as they can here in this type of setup. So just gotta bear that in mind. Just gotta be weather aware. So again, maybe hailed about 1.5 inches here, indicated a moment ago. A little bit smaller in that latest game, but you see how things kind of went off a little bit with the highest potential to the north and now back to the northwest. So this is how it was earlier when we first came on. You see where that red square is, and it kind of went more up to here, and then it's kind of swung back around now with the highest potential. So again, that's kind of where we're at. Let me zoom out a little bit, but you can see some of the topography out there. Again, kind of interesting to see here in our viewing circle. Our mouse is malfunctioning on us just a little bit, but you kind of get the idea. So again, let's go ahead and just kind of keep watching things here. I know we're just being told now here in the chat session that spotter 6 miles southwest of Fort White there from around 526 reported a hail to about 9/10 of an inch in diameter. So that's just under severe limits there. And we have spotter network. Let me see if I can get his location then. There it is right there. There's his location. So he's already getting hail here to about 9/10 of an inch in diameter. And let me see what our hail tracker is saying. It's showing a little smaller. So there's his location. As I kind of click on it there, you can kind of see what I'm talking about. So that's to about 9/10 of an inch in diameter there, right in this area. And our product's more like 6/10, so maybe a little bit more displaced there off toward the west and south from the algorithm. Just kind of says it a little bit different. So I kind of have to kind of really figure things out there a little bit as you go between different scans. Kind of have to think about it in a more critical fashion here in terms of trying to assess things. So again, let's see what else we might have here in the Weather Center. I'm checking our other modes again. Continuing to give you guys the latest information to protect you, your friends, and your families. So let me go ahead and go back on over here right now. Again, this is toward parts of southern Columbia County. Also there in part of areas of northern Gilchrist and northwestern Alachua. So again, trying to give you the latest information to protect you, your friends, and your family. See some more action all of a sudden around Fairbanks developing now. And Alachua County very quickly now we're seeing some development around the community of Fairbanks in Alachua County. So that could be where we have another threat that tries to evolve over the next bit. We'll have to watch it. Nothing overwhelming yet, but we just have to pay attention here in the Weather Center. So again, we're sitting at 5:29 right now on the clock. I'm meteorologist Casey Cloud here in the Weather Center. We have a severe thunderstorm warning continuing for parts of Gilchrist, Alachua, and Columbia counties here until about 6 o'clock. This severe thunderstorm moving northwest about 10 miles an hour. We're talking about 2-inch hail possible. 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts not out of the question either. As I go between some modes, we definitely have that hail potential trying to get down to the surface. Again, the spotter network report here just a moment ago was telling us that the situation was one where we had hail there reported to about 9/10 of an inch in diameter. So again, just something to kind of bear in mind here for sure. I'll go ahead and go back on over. You can kind of see here or rather look at things. I know things kind of moving around a little bit. Some of this is getting out of the box again a little bit. That might again require a new warning or different updates. We'll just have to wait and see. But we'll just go ahead and go back on over. Right now we have some storms in northeastern Alachua we'll keep our eyes on. We'll just keep on watching the situation there. We have a warning toward Orlando, at least parts of that region of Orange County there. Moving south at 10 miles an hour, so different movement on that one than the one to the north. Different wind directions here, different boundaries can cause different impacts here in terms of overall storm movement. So, again, just going to keep looking at things here in the weather center. You can see here we have some of these yellow boxes in parts of Mississippi. I'll bet it's up just a little bit. Earlier on, we didn't have all these when I came on. I mean, you'll be able to kind of see what I'm talking about here a little bit, I think, as we try to get back. Maybe not. Maybe they just weren't in a situation here where I could see them as easy. But anyway, we'll just go ahead and go back down toward the south and east here on our Doppler radar mode. So, again, we're going between a bunch of different things here. Sometimes that stuff kind of blends in there with our Doppler technology. So I might have actually had some warnings out there a little bit earlier on, and I just didn't see them when we were talking about that area there. Maybe we're kind of right in between some different timestamps there, something like that. Again, a situation we're now being told is a storm near Crystal River that's getting stronger. So let's look down here because this could be a problem for southern Levy County then, depending on the movement of it. Let me see what they have on the movement of this. Moving southeast. Okay, that was moving southeast, so that wouldn't be necessarily then. That's good news. It's moving toward the south and east, and we'll go ahead and zoom back on out. Again, just trying to give you guys the latest information to protect you, your friends, and your family here in the weather center. So we'll just go ahead and keep zooming on out here just a little bit more. Don't have any tornado warnings for the moment in the country. We have 4 different tornado watches in 3 different areas, really. That's pretty unusual to see. The biggest concern, again, north parts of Oklahoma and North Texas here. A storm trying to get going there east of Wichita Falls now, so I have to pay attention to it. Temperature is much warmer down there than toward Oklahoma City proper. So we'll just to keep looking there. Our instability factor and values is really high out here. So we'll just have to keep paying attention there. Let me go back down toward our area again with the latest scans. You can see here over the last hour some of these different numbers here. Some of these different numbers are kind of inching back up again with the hail potential we've seen as this gets right on the edge, if not just outside of the warning box. So again, maybe a new warning, may not. We'll just wait and see. But the threat with this one box technically goes to 6. We'll just kind of see some heavy rain there lingering within that over the next little bit. So just kind of keep our eyes on that here. Going between some different radar modes if you're wondering what I'm doing here. Just trying to get some different evaluations of the overall scenario. Quite a bit of lighting here. Cloud of ground lightning, definitely a possibility here, and that can be really dangerous here as we're looking maybe just off to the northeast of Williford. So, again, I just got to stay tuned and stay safe here in this area. Have some storminess here northeast of Gainesville, around Fairbanks and Orange Heights, but nothing in terms of wind energy there right at this point anyway. That could change. But going back off toward the north and west here, we're talking about a situation here. We're talking about a situation where we have some pretty nasty action in terms of some thunderstorms. So, again, I just don't want to be messing around out here whenever thunder roars. We want to go indoors here in this type of situation. So, again, let me go ahead and pull up our severe thunderstorm warning safety tips right now. When thunder roars, obviously, do go indoors. And also, 6 after 10 to 30 bucks, another tip to keep in mind here in these situations, and stay away from windows. So, again, just trying to give you guys the latest information here to protect you, protect your friends, and protect your family. So, let me see if we have any questions here from the viewers right now. I don't see anything at the moment. But again, just thanks so much for tuning in and joining me on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch. I'm meteorologist Casey Cloud. You can see here a little bit of wind enhancement here close to that Columbia and Gilchrist County line. But not necessarily seeing something that just is overwhelming on that mode versus the hail mode is a little bit more substantial here in toward this region. So, again, I just definitely continue to track things here in this part of the viewing circle, which are kind of wondering where we're at. I mean, you see our hail potential there southwest of Fort White, and we're talking about areas of Columbia, Alachua, and Gilchrist counties. So let's go back to our coverage map here again. we'll go back on over to our coverage map. So, Alachua, Columbia, and Gilchrist counties. You see where they are here with this viewpoint. So, just kind of give you a geographic reference really to what's going on. So, we'll go ahead and zoom back on out here a little bit. Go ahead and zoom back on out, and you can kind of see here those two storms in Florida that are severe. That one around Crystal River is pretty close, and then you see the one in the Mississippi. I know may have brushed over those earlier because they kind of blend in with our watch there, but again, we have some severe thunderstorm warnings in Mississippi. We had orange ones earlier because of more considerable threat, but then we'll just keep on watching things across the country here as the situation does progress. I mean, it's always just interesting to keep an eye on the grand scheme of things. So, we're just trying to see exactly what is going on here with everything, and let you guys know here of all the threats. You see the marginal risk here across some of our region in that darker green, there, and then as we go on over, let's take a look here at the local area and zoom on into that, and you can see over the last hour, we're talking about some of these areas getting closer toward 3 inches, if not a little over. That depends on how much hail is mixed in to contaminate this, but maybe closer to 3 inches here, parts of Alachua and Gilchrist counties. And then as we look here over the last 12 hours, just a pretty similar story because that's when the rain's been falling. But again, just trying to let you guys know exactly what's going on here in this type of situation. Just kind of say you what is happening here overall. On our other radar mode, kind of showing the hail potential just a little bit greater toward the south a little bit. You can see here northeast of Williford, right there close towards State Road 47. That's where some of the biggest hail may be falling at this point, based on this mode, and that may be a little more accurate. A lot of woods out here, it looks like, but there may be a few homes or a few areas here getting impacted. Nothing in terms of just like dense population, which is good, but again, you just have to keep your eyes on things here in the overall scenario. So, again, severe thunderstorm warning there in play. That orange box, that more considerable threat. Again, just trying to see what's happening here all across the region, and in terms of that national severe potential too. Just trying to see exactly what our Doppler scans are kind of telling us. It's always important to do that here in the Weather Center, just to make sure we're not missing anything. So important here to make sure you don't just kind of focus on one thing and lose sight of everything else. So, looks like it is issued a warning there. Did the office in Tampa for Citrus County that does not include parts of our region here at this point, but it says severe thunderstorm warning for a storm with southwest at 10 miles an hour. We'll just keep watching that. And you see here northeast of Gainesville around Fairbanks, you're seeing some heavy rain, some lightning moving up here towards some other communities here. It'll get us really act together in terms of overall movement. I mean, it's honestly stationary looking right now, but we'll just keep watching it here. And just so the area they have it pegged moving northwest at 10 miles an hour. Sometimes you could expect a similar movement here with other storms, but this just doesn't seem like it wants to move right now as it's just trying to get going here as we're looking toward Fairbanks and Orange Heights. Let me get back to the other computer source if you're wondering. Sorry, I might have been on the wrong source there for a second, but you kind of get the idea of what we're talking about here. Fairbanks and Orange Heights. So again, a situation here where we have some stronger storms, but this is where you have your warning way out here toward the west. So again, we're talking about areas there northeast of Williford. You have hail getting closer to 2 inches in diameter, not out of the question. So again, we'll just have to keep on looking at that here on our Doppler scans and evaluate to see if a new warning is required. Unfortunately, it may be. So that'll be something the Weather Service would have to take care of here in the next little bit. So again, you have the potential there to high maybe just west of State Road 47 in Gilchrist County. You can kind of see what I'm talking about out here. So we'll just keep on looking at it here in the Weather Center with you. Let me go ahead kind of give you guys some different perspectives here as I can. I'm just looking at some things here behind the scenes again. So just bear with me, but I'm just trying to see what we might have for you guys here. I might want to go to satellite. Let's see. This gives us a good presentation. It kind of does. I mean, that one area there we have the warning especially. It'll be displaced a little because that's how things kind of work with satellite here. But You can kind of see we have some of that cloud top accent here that's gotten a little bit more interesting and visible and infrared here shows it a little displaced, but still definitely interesting to see the colder cloud tops there in that vicinity of the viewing circle. So again, radar is what's actually getting closer to the ground. It's better in terms of matching the location up there to the actual geography, the radar to the geography. But again, some murder taking place in central Citrus County. So that's kind of a storyline there that we're kind of watching in toward that vicinity. It's posting up substantially. So expecting some severe hail, possibly damaging wind gusts in that area. And then you have the other warning there in central Florida toward Ocoee, getting some hail there that could be an inch in diameter. By the way, we just got a new local warning, unfortunately, now. It just came out. A new local warning will pop up here in just a second. It's for portions of Columbia, Gilchrist, and Suwannee counties now until about 6:30. They're saying a considerable damage threat still. Could still have 2-inch size hail in this area. So a new warning now until 6:30 for parts of Columbia, Gilchrist, and Suwannee counties. So you just got to be mindful of that potential here, as this is tracking according to this, probably going a little bit more toward the west, but they're tracking northwest at 5 miles an hour. So very, very slow moving, definitely quite a bit of rain, maybe some hail adding up a little bit too. It's technically spraying for a White, Brantford, and Hildreth under this. So 2-inch hail, 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts, so people and animals outdoors, they could be injured. Expect hail damage to roofs, side, and windows of vehicles. And expect wind damage to roofs, side, and trees. So again, that's kind of the storyline right now in the wordest part of the viewing area. So again, gonna go ahead and zoom back on out a little bit as we try to give you guys the very latest. You can see here we have some tornado watches off toward the west in the nation, but then we have a situation here where we have this warning area being covered here. That my hail still a threat, still showing strong severe potential. Another warning's been issued downstream. Large hail, the biggest threat, which is unusual for our part of the country. So again, that's why we're kind of sticking with this here, because this is something we don't always see in our part of the nation. So again, that's what we're tracking at the present time. You can see this is north of the area of Williford, south of Fort White. The worst of this. Let's see if it's kind of working its way closer toward areas here east of Hats Bend, maybe. It's pretty rural out here, so that's the good news. Missing the most populated areas. So I will take a break here in just a moment to catch my breath, because since it's not just impacting the most populated areas of the viewing circle with something like this, but we're being told here by the Tallahassee office they're covering, of course, Lafayette County, and that a long-lived severe storm that started near High Springs is starting to surge westward. They're saying across northern Gilchrist County, and they need to watch it closely as it nears the Suwannee River and possibly enters their service area over maybe the southeastern corner of Lafayette County. So again, definitely got to keep watching things, got to keep tracking things here in the weather center. This is a nasty one. It could be a trip toward Hatch Bend over the next little bit if it kind of goes more off toward the west here. We'll just have to wait and see here as it kind of tries to make itself really more defined here at points within the Doppler algorithm. So again, I'm going to keep watching things. It's 5:43 right now. I'm going to take a break, be back about 5:50 unless we have something that really needs me to come on here. Really kind of meet some criteria in terms of like a tornado warning or something where I have to jump in immediately. Not expecting that, but we'll be back about 5:50 unless we need to be back on a little bit earlier. Meteorologist Casey Cloud back here in the Weather Center at 5:50 on this Thursday. You can see right now we have that severe thunderstorm warning threat still continuing as you're looking toward portions of Alachua, Columbia, Gilchrist, and Suwannee counties over the next little bit. So definitely something to keep our eyes on here in the Weather Center. I know a lot of us are not really seeing too much here with the weather conditions and them being too bad. They're pretty nice and some of our areas here, but a different story off toward these areas that we're tracking where we have the boxes in play. The severe potential does exist out here. So let me go ahead and go on over right now to our other mode. You can see as we're looking just north of Williford there, we're still seeing some very nasty convective activity here. So you just got to really still stay inside, stay away from windows. As we go ahead and go on over right now to a track on some of this activity. You can kind of see here where it might be headed. It's over the next little bit, over the next hour. It's moving very slow here. And that kind of is interesting in terms of be dumping more rainfall here in towards some of these areas. That can cause some issues here. So you got to be aware of that. You got to be aware of that here as we're looking toward parts of Gilchrist County. Maybe if this will move slow enough, it'll be able to just kind of be taking up too much of the overall energy here and it'll fall apart. But right now, that's not really the case. So you can see a storm developing maybe toward the north. Let's see, yeah. That's a threat a little bit north there, northeast of Fort White. Now we have to see if that gets a warning here a little bit later on. Maybe not immediately, but if that keeps trying to grow upward there, then that could become a threat as we're looking there northeast of Fort White. So again, let's go ahead and zoom back on out now. Again, you can see the storm here north of Williford. I definitely have some reds and greens trying to come together here in terms of a little bit of wind energy trying to come to the surface, but nothing in terms of really tornadic action or anything like that here today. It's not expected in our local area, but still some wind potential could be trying to get toward the surface out of this. This is again starting to get in a more typical summertime pattern, so more to think about those characteristics versus something else as this stuff just kind of pops up on us and becomes so nasty so quickly because it's able to take advantage of the available potential energy that's out there. So again, when you're this warm, I mean, you have different vendors involved. Things can destroy, develop here in certain types of setups. You have moisture. I mean, when that's available, you just have different things that are available, and the storms are able to take advantage. So again, let me go ahead and zoom back on out a little bit. Or you can see we're watching stuff in the northeast of Gainesville there. You have a little bit of lightning showing up there between Fairbanks and Waldo along, it looks like State Road 24, Waldo Road. So again, we'll just continue to watch that. You can see here 301, some heavier downpours there too. So again, let me go ahead and just keep checking things here in the Weather Center. I'm just looking at some different things here at this point. Just bear with me as we continue to watch things. Not too much in Bradford County. It's a little dark out there, but at least right now things are okay here in toward Bradford County. That's good news. No need to rain though, but in terms of anything being too substantial, we're not seeing it at this point. As we look off toward the west, though, again, you have this area of concern there, northeast of Williford. Hopefully it'll break up on us over the next little bit, but it hadn't done so yet. So we still got to watch it. We still got to take precautions, even if it weren't to be severe later on. You still have to take some precautions if you have that lightning around. Remember, whenever thunder roars, you want to go indoors in these type of situations. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom back on out, though. You can see a couple areas here. We've been watching toward the south. The warning around Orlando has been dropped, but it looks like hail was reported at 1.25 inches in diameter a little bit earlier near Lake Apopka, Homosassa Springs there. Severe weather down there in Citrus County. We're not seeing right now necessarily as nasty of a signature as we have, but it still could be dangerous. And I know we've been watching this toward it's technically spring, and with our warnings in our area, and we'll keep watching that. But then as I zoom out, I know we have some warnings, even getting up in Mississippi, a little toward areas there just east of Starkville, really toward Columbus, Mississippi, maybe some 60-mile-an-hour gusts there in that vicinity. So again, you can see around Meridian there. Meridian, Mississippi, some nastier conditions there too. That weather kind of shifted around on us a little today. But the overall weather pattern, I wouldn't quite predict it to be quite like it is. But as we go back out toward the north and west here, you can see here we're looking at some different things on the Doppler algorithms. You can see parts of Kansas, some heavier rain, and we have a severe thunderstorm warning in Nebraska right now. Again, nothing too much yet in this tornado watch down here, but it could change rapidly. And some of this stuff here down near closer to Wichita Falls, there's a chance that this stuff here, right on these areas here along the state line, could become really volatile. Near your infrared satellite, but look at the energy values there. Look, those are just really excessive. And your tornado parameters, they're kind of mixing together just right. It's really more, in my opinion, a greater potential south Oklahoma City, maybe, than in Oklahoma City proper. I know sometimes when we have stuff really evolve on us, and it's a big national story toward Oklahoma City, where we just have the worst of the tornadoes here in the country that you can ever see. But right now, our parameters suggest here that the worst of this, because of the cloud cover we had around Oklahoma City earlier, would concentrate closer toward Duncan there, Ardmore, maybe Pauls Valley, Ada, that vicinity there. So just to kind of give you guys a heads up, things can always shift though on us. From the national standpoint, we'll keep assessing that. If we have to turn our logo red on that, we would. It's kind of late in the game to do that here. I hesitated to do that because of the cloud cover we saw in the north, but to the south here, stuff seems to be trying to come into play here. We'll have to see if it's excessive here enough for us to escalate coverage or not. But again, I'll go ahead and zoom back out and kind of see what's going on here toward the state of Florida. Go to see what's happening. Kind of giving you guys an idea here. Looking like east of Tallahassee, there's some lightning along some of the different roadways there. I mean, looking there just east of Tallahassee, that one straight that you're seeing. And really, there's more than one. If you're looking at the source, US 27 is what we're talking about that accident at. So nothing severe over there at this point, though, so that's good news. It seems like our storm to the south may be weakening some. Maybe there's a new significant weather advisory, so maybe that'll give us hope here that we'll get this warning area dropped here soon. We have a couple polygons. One will go away here in a few moments, more than likely, but the other one technically goes to 6:30. Things have kind of just moved around here, shifted around here in this over the last little bit, but it would seem the hail potential is dropping. The overall strength of this is dropping some, so maybe we'll get lucky here, be able to wrap this up here sooner than 6:30, maybe even sooner than 6:15 if we don't get another uptick like we saw when we thought we might be kind of wrapping things up earlier on when we had that drop in intensity there for a bit. So again, just continuing to watch things here in the Weather Center. I'm going to zoom back out. I've been on for over an hour here, close to about an hour and 15 minutes now to try to keep you safe. Again, I mean, some days in the summertime pattern, I mean, you don't have to necessarily have severe weather to be involved with dangerous weather. We wouldn't be on if we had this lighting around. And you get that some days of the summer in your neighborhood, and we're not going to be on because they can't be on for every area of lighting. That doesn't make any sense. But you just have to remember whenever thunder roared, go indoors. I mean, you're not want to be messing around with that. You see a storm there toward Levy County. It's pretty strong, but not severe, southeast of Swanee, northeast of Cedar Keys. So we'll keep watching some of that here. You see one of our boxes go away in just a moment up here. Hopefully we'll get both of them to go away. It seems like it's dropping in strength. They may be giving a few more scans just to make sure that the wind doesn't kind of push out with this as it kind of maybe falls apart, or maybe we don't get another uptick here and have to issue a new warning altogether. But I mean, the worst of this actually is kind of the other box that's going to go away here in a moment anyway, but it kind of makes things tricky. But okay, I'm now being told we're going to have a new warning for parts of our area, though. It's going to be for parts of Levy and Citrus until 6:45. Is this going to be for this area here, I wonder? It must be, because that's just going to barely clip our area. Then let's see what way that's headed. Excuse me, I apologize. This is my voice here just a little bit, but it's just a one-man band. So they're tracking that storm. Actually, it's moving north now toward Inglis, so that's kind of unusual to see. The other storm is moving off toward the southwest, but this storm is here moving toward the north. So kind of interesting to see here around Crystal River then. This kind of moves on up here toward parts of our viewing area in Inglis here over the next little bit. So a tricky situation here for sure. In fact, I think I'm going to take a quick break here to gather some new information here, more information. Make sure everybody's aware here of this new threat toward parts of Levy County. It's not in our Jacksonville, Tallahassee, Warren area, so I gotta retweet something here on a different account to make sure people know we have a threat for Levy County. So keep it tuned to Cloud Weather. We'll keep you guys up to date. I'll just probably retweet this stream over there as well. As we'll be back with you about 6:05. So stay tuned. We have 2 areas of warnings here within our viewing circle right now. One toward portions of Columbia, Gilchrist, Suwannee counties. The other toward Citrus outside of the area, but Levy within our viewing circle. Meteorologist Casey Cloud back with you here in the Weather Center at 6:05 on this Thursday. We're seeing that severe thunderstorm warning continue for parts of Citrus and Levy toward the south. The one to the north, though, has been canceled by the Weather Service there in Jacksonville. Is in play for areas of Columbia, Gilchrist, and Suwannee counties. But the good news, again, we've seen that weekend on out. But bad news is we had that other storm here. It's kind of unusual, actually. I'm going to switch the modes here. Bear with me just a second. Again, we're continuing to watch things here. You can see I switch in mode. This storm here, actually moving in from the south to the north here, in toward our southern areas. We don't see that often toward Levy County, but we don't talk about English very much. We cover 62 counties here, as I've alluded to. Our coverage map here is this. You can see where Levy County is. We have the storm right now. It's not in Levy County, but since we're already on here, I want to at least watch the progress of this to see if it intensifies or weakens as it gets closer toward the community of English and far southern Levy County. So we're going to stay with you, even though that warning for Suwannee, Columbia, and Gilchrist has dropped off with that threat weakening on down. The severe potential, but down here is a different story. This is Roy Garden, vigorous and strong here. Again, it's not in our viewing area yet, but it's coming in from the south. And I know we all the time have storms come in from the west in our viewing area, but this is very unusual. I know I've talked about it kind of here, just in the theory of it, having stuff come in this way here into our area, but I don't know if I've seen it very much here in practice over the few years we've done this. Having been in the air here, watching a storm in Citrus County moving into toward Levy County, but that's the storyline, and that's the case we have right now. So again, around the community of English here, this is where it's going to be headed over the next little bit of the track that's going out. It's moving slow though, but there's a chance it could weaken out some before it gets there. But maybe moving a little bit faster than when this is showing us though. You can see 15, 30, 45 an hour here in the timeline. So we'll just have to watch to see. I think it's moving a little bit faster than that, but it's not in our area yet. But English again there in Levy County, we'll be having to watch this. I know Citrus is technically not in our viewing circle, but this severe thunderstorm at 5:58 was located near Crystal River Airport, or 9 miles west of Beverly Hills, moving north at 10 miles an hour. So English, Pine Ridge, Citronelle, Crystal Manor, Crystal River Airport, Homosassa Springs, Homosassa, Black Diamond, and Citrus Springs under this warning. But again, in our viewing circle, it's more about English than anybody else. Maybe Clipping Yankee Town, you're into this warning too, but again, English would seem to be the area here where we have a bigger concern here and over the next little bit. So that's showing some stronger wind energy than we've seen all day with this stuff. And is that matching up? It's not really matching up, but it looks like right on the leading edge, and we could have a pretty strong gust of wind. Maybe not quite this severe, but on that leading edge, it could be getting close to severe there as this accent comes in. So that radar scan's clearing up a little, even though we're pretty high up here. It could just be displaced because the radar scan tone actually could be giving up. That's a pretty good indication of the wind associated with the leading edge of the actual storm versus something just out ahead here. It's kind of tricky when we're this high up and we're not in a great spot on the radar, but we don't get warning that here all that often because of that, to be quite honest. But it's a pretty nasty looking storm here, and with the history we've had of the storms toward the north, you don't want to take chances. We had another report in just a little while ago here in the weather center of hail there upward of about 1.75 inches in diameter just southwest of High Springs. It was from about 5:30 when it just came in. Fire department and the rescue, there is a source on that. So again, watching the stuff down here though in Citrus County, another storm to the south. Watching that one too near Homosassa Springs. Again, it looks like maybe more than one core here, which is kind of interesting. I mean, it was kind of harder to see at first. I mean, because we're kind of on the edge of the radar, had that purple still up because you couldn't really see much, but now it seems like it's clearing up for us a little bit out here, and you can kind of see we have two different areas that are pretty significant. I'm hoping maybe since you have two areas, one of these could cut the other one off, and then it could kind of cause the stuff to fall apart, but we'll have to wait and see. It gets kind of tricky in those type of situations here. We'll definitely continue to monitor things here in the weather center. So again, looking there again with our Doppler algorithms, you can see northwest of Crystal River there, south of English. I mean, we'll definitely continue to watch things here with that area and the other area toward the south, closer to Homosassa Springs there. That's what we're seeing another area on our Doppler radar technology that's showing up. So we'll just keep on looking at things. I know we're kind of in a situation right now where it's a little bit tricky with what to do because we're in a spot here where we may not come on for this initially if we weren't already on, but I don't want to really throw it back here at this point since it might be a situation where we need to jump back in real quick. But the latest scan did go a little bit weaker with this. I'm hoping that some to the south might cut to one to the north off and then things just kind of diminished there. Our other warning area, by the way, you see this, we're talking about all earlier on, things are falling apart here overall. Still lightning though around, so whenever thunder roars to go indoors. And then you have in northern Alachua County some lightning around Waldo Road. It just moves into Waldo, but it's not too strong, not severe here at this point, and that's the good news. But we'll watch it here as it kind of drifts around. But as you see to the south, again, this is the reason we're staying on right now. Hail is showing up just under an inch now here, just south of the viewing area, south of Inglis there. As we're looking along the west coast here in Florida, per se, US 19, that's kind of what we're looking here as well. So, again, been with you for a while here. You see around Homosassa Springs, seeing some of that purple still up. Again, I'm hoping some of that stuff down to the south might help to cut the one to the north off. But earlier on, that was more dominant, and then things to the north became more dominant. And hopefully, we'll just kind of get this all to fall apart here, but you never know. So, again, instability shows a lot of that right near the coast, and that might be helping to fuel this action to be a little more significant down here as we get on over here now to our other mode. Again, you see that purple still showing up here on the Doppler radar technology. Quite a bit of lightning there. 15 strikes last 30 minutes right in this area here as we're looking. So that's definitely interesting to take note of. Again, moving up toward Inglis there over the next little bit, if it holds together in Levy County. So right now it's in Citrus, which is just outside of the area. We wouldn't be on for it if this warning just included Citrus, and there were no other warnings. But the warning did extend into Levy County, so that's what we're staying on with this here to protect you, your friends, and your family. So again, just trying to make sure everybody stays safe out here. We're going between some different scans. If you're just wondering what I'm doing here, we have that cloud to ground lightning potential for sure in towards Citrus County. But let's go ahead and zoom back on out. Let's go to our Jacksonville radar here because we're kind of having to shift around here at times in the overall timeline. So let's go ahead and see what we're dealing with here in parts of Columbia County. Some heavy rain, maybe a little hail just west of 75 there, east of Fort White. Again, seeing some gustier winds and heavier rain there, maybe between Fairbanks and Waldo, but not severe. Maybe a little bit of hail in there, but nothing too big. At this point, it wouldn't seem. This one area here looks like it could be seeing a little bit of an intensification again, that northeast of Fort White. So we'll just have to continue to watch that. I know summertime patterns can be so tricky, and we're continuing to watch it all for you. But just got word, though, an interesting threat is evolving toward parts of Oklahoma in terms of a severe thunderstorm warning popping up. We need to bring your attention to here from the national standpoint. So let's move in toward the Duncan area here. Jefferson, it looks like Stevens, Cotton, and Clay County there in Texas under this for ping pong balls. So I say on 60-mile-an-hour gusts, but a tornado could develop pretty quickly from this severe thunderstorm action. So you got to be kind of careful down here. This could evolve pretty quickly on us. It's in almost a perfect area to do so. Again, instead of Oklahoma City, more Norman at this point. It looks like more of a southern Oklahoma story. We're just south of Lawton and just moving right over toward Duncan here over the next little bit. So again, look at those instability values. When you get these numbers this high, that can be a problem because we're not getting that toward Oklahoma City. And that's a limiting factor to some degree. But the cloud cover will be a problem in terms of not getting stuff to evolve up there as much. So I'm trying to go between some different modes of that. Here's visibility, visible satellite. We've been talking for a while, but you get the idea of visible satellite. They're kind of telling the story in toward that vicinity. And then as we look here down toward the south here, south of Walters and north of Temple there, or close to Temple anyway, as we're kind of seeing what's going on. And this stuff looks a little displaced here. Might be bad radar coverage down there. That could be kind of messing things up. And that general box there is where the worst of the threat would be. And then we'll keep watching that. So let's get back to our local stuff for now, though. Again, this one area is just outside of the viewing area, but it's trying to move in here. That's where we're watching it. Again, Levy County, the only county not covered by Jacksonville or Tampa, or try that again. Jacksonville or Tallahassee in terms of the severe warnings, but it's covered by Tampa instead. So again, just trying to give you guys the latest here. We've been talking again for a while, but it's about protecting you, your friends, and your family. You can see this one area here about an inch-size hail there, close into the west of 75. This other area here, north of Crystal River. North of Crystal River, we're looking at off the Jackson radar. It's showing a little bit different signature, which is interesting, but it's trying to move off toward the north here and become an issue for Levy County over the next little bit. So that's looking at it a little bit higher up. So let's go to the Tampa radar again. See you guys what's going on here with all this. You can see it doesn't look as well put together as it did a few minutes ago, which is good news. And it actually doesn't even look like it's moving that way. The latest scan there, it looks like it's really having trouble. I mean, the core of this to get closer to Levy County. So I think we're going to start to watch this a little more carefully in terms of maybe wrapping this up here. If I see some things here that trend in the positive direction in the next couple minutes, even though we might still have the warning in place for Levy County, I think I might leave it kind of here in just a moment and kind of come back if we need to without a stream. But it's just a situation right now where we're not seeing anything really getting anything stronger. Just still up here within this axis here in terms of maybe higher severe potential or actually getting in the area, which is kind of intriguing. So again, we're watching the south of Inglis here. We're just going to keep watching this for sure. It just seems like it's meandering a little bit south of our viewing circle, but definitely got to be watching this around Inglis and Yankeetown here and the southern area of Levy County for sure for severe weather potential. But the north we have some strong storms. This one right here is strong northeast of Fort White, but it's not severe at the present time anyway. That could always change if that intensifies enough. It seems like it's starting to intensify a little bit up there west of 75. So we'll watch it. I'm looping it back going forward to get a look at the strength scan by scan. But you can see here down toward the south, north of Homosassa Springs here, we're looking at things, and they're continuing to warn until 6:45 for parts of Citrus and Levy. So we just got that update statement here in the Weather Center. Let me see what it's telling me. Again, that came out here at 6:18, so right about now is when that update came in from the National Weather Service. So they're telling me here in the chat session that the severe thunderstorm was located, it looks like about 7 miles north of the Crystal River Airport or 9 miles northwest of Beverly Hills, and now it's moving east. So not moving north maybe as much, but still got Inglis here in the warning for now. So again, that's kind of intriguing here as well as we continue to watch the progression of this here. So again, you can see how they trimmed some of Levy out of this, but not all of it. They kept just a little bit of Levy in here to be safe. But so right around Inglis and Yankeetown, you gotta still be on guard. In some of these areas to the east are not even in Levy. It's just going up to the northern edge of the Citrus. But you can see kind of trying to clip closer to an Ellen here. If this tries to hold together in terms of something, but I'm not sure if it's going to get that far or not. Things can change quickly though, so stay tuned. Even that area that seems a little weaker. So, but that latest update here, the storm trap would now have it going in a different direction. I mean, so that's kind of a big deal in terms of that. So let me go ahead and see that now in either mode or analyst computer. Yeah, that's showing more east, and then that would be out of the viewing area for now. I may try to enter back in and see that Marion later. Really erratic, and it's not in our area right now, but part of our, as I lose my voice a little, part of our area is within this warning. That's why we've been sticking with it. But I think we're going to wrap it up for now. We need to come back on. We got to watch the stuff in Oklahoma. We got to watch our local stuff. We'll have our full update really late tonight here. If I don't have to come back on in between, of course. Then if we're on for like hours or something for Oklahoma, we could always change or cover it up a little. But granted, I don't have to come back on for too long here later on. We'll have that full update late tonight here from the Weather Center. So stay tuned for that. But if we have to come back on for anything local, anything national, we'll make sure to do so. This warning's still in play for a little bit of Levy County, but it's more about Citrus County, which is just outside of the viewing circle. So Facebook, Casey Cloud WX for the latest cloud weather. There, Facebook too. They have Twitter at Cloud Casey, Auto Alerts Cloud_WX on Twitter. Then you have YouTube at Cloud Weather, Twitch there at Cloud Weather, and the website cloudweather.com, and you can click on that radar tab for an interactive look at things when we're not on the air. For now, meteorologist Casey Cloud, thanks so much for tuning in and trusting me. Still stay weather aware in some of these spots, especially that southern tier of Levy County where you're still under that severe thunderstorm warning until 6:45.